Hello, we're going to play some $5 zone poker here. Been playing a fair bit of this with some of my students because it's a great training tool for preflop hand selection. Postflop to get it's still helpful, but it's a little trickier because you don't really have solid reads on players. But it's a great way to drill um, all of the preflop stuff. So we're just going to do something here and see if some of you guys can benefit from me doing this. So. Okay, so I just got a walk. I just literally just bought in for $5. Got a walk in the big blind, so that's why I have $5.02. And here we go. We have an early position raise. A6 suited is one of those hands that so many people play. If you are going to play this, you better play it for a raise. Calling here is effectively a trap hand. What is he calling? What is he raising with in early position? Well, aces. Lots of aces are in his range, and most of those aces are stronger than ours. Ace queen under the gun, we're going to play this every time. We're going to open for a raise. If we get repopped, we're going to have to reevaluate based on stack sizes and things like that. Okay, we got called. He's not calling with aces or kings, so or queens. He's calling with middle pairs and not like that. So we flopped top pair, top kicker. We're going to just build a pot here. And I'm up against two players, so I'm going to bet a little bit bigger than I normally would. Might bet about 40 cents normally. Here I'm just putting the maximum pressure on these players. And I'm perfectly happy with that result. Some people get upset or not happy when they don't capitalize on their flop top pairs and things like that. But any profit is good profit is the way to think about this. Under the gun with Jack 8 suited, that's just a little bit too weak for me to play in that seat. I might play it in the cutoff, or for example, in this seat right here, the cutoff, this is a stealing seat for me. Again, these two seats, late position I'm raising with, these two seats I'm playing much more cautiously. This guy's very short stack, so we have to watch what he does. That's the only real worry here, is if I raise, I'm going to raise my standard amount, which is pot. We've got to watch short stacks like that because they could easily reshove on us, and in which case we're just folding here. But again, he's in the small blind, so it's more likely he's going to fold. If you're in the big blind, you might feel a little bit more invested in the hand and might just say, screw it, I'm getting it all in, or something like that. We don't know why he's down to $1.33. He bought in short, or he just took a bad beat, or he's a fishy player. Any of those things are not necessarily good things for us there. So we've got 5-3 off in the big blind, and we get a walk, so we're happy with that. We weren't going to play that hand, so that's the best possible outcome that could have happened there. 10 deuce off under the gun, that's a fold. We're under the gun, ace jack, we're going to play this. My standard raise is the pot, 17 cents, a little over 3.5 times the big blind. Seems to do the trick at these stakes. We get cold called from a player right here. So middle pair, suited connectors, that kind of thing. Tough to put him on a king. Tough to put him on a king. I'm going to go ahead and continuation bet here. Like 75-80% of the pot, something like that. If we get re-raised, we're done. And he easily has a piece of this, so I'm check folding here. He was calling there with the middle pair. He could easily have a pair of eights. He checked back. I'm going to check and let him bluff now because I think maybe we do have a better hand than him. Nope. He had a very small piece on the turn and was one of those players that doesn't like to go anywhere. So that's okay. We're going to fold the small blind here. Not a playable hand. Don't even want to be tempted to play it. Ace queen off in the big blind. We're going to play. We'll see. So we got a raise, a min raise. These little min raises at zone poker are generally very weak. They're just somebody trying to get everybody, hoping that everybody has autofold on. And for that reason, I'm re-raising here. And a lot of times, he's deep enough. I think he's a good player. Okay, he's got like, king jack, something like that. Let's hope he doesn't have king jack. I'm checking here. I don't know what he's got. I'm not going to call this, clearly, but I am pretty curious what he has. I'm going to fold. That's an interesting hand. He fired big into multi-way there. Hard to say what he had. 9-6 in early position. We're going to fold that. 10-8 off in late position. We're not going to play it. We got an under the gun razor. Pair of fives in the small blind. Tricky hand. Really easy to lose a lot of money here by getting stubborn and not believing people. We're certainly not going to do that. So we're going to raise for sure. Might be the same player because the same stack size, and the player pool is not huge in these sites. So sometimes you can see some carryover of players from table to table by looking at stack sizes. Not a perfect tell though. Don't marry yourself to reads based on that. Under the gun, 6 deuce suited. That's a fold. 8-5 off. I'm pre-folding right now. I'm just not interested in being tempted to play these kind of hands. 7 deuce off. We're not playing this hand to any kind of raise. Maybe if the small blind re-raises it, in this case, okay, I spoke too soon. I'm going to float this guy. This kind of little min raises from the small blind. If he takes a stab, I'm going to call. If he checks to me here, I'm going to take another stab at the pot. He doesn't. He has an ace now, is what this is telling us. Many, many times that's a good float, though. That's a good hand to go ahead and float somebody with. Any hand is really a good hand there. 9-6 off. I'm raising a very wide range here on the button. (10-4) off. We're going to fold that. King 9 suited. We're going to fold under the gun. That's one of those pretty hands that lots of people get married to and like because they look strong, and they're incredibly weak hands. Much weaker than they look. So that's an easy fold. Fold the 8-5 suited. King Jack offsuit. This is at the bottom end of my opening range under the gun. Got to watch these two little short stacks over here because they could get frisky. Oh, we got cold called, and now we're out of position with a not an easy hand to play. We're going to continuation bet into both of these because that board is pretty dry. And if we get any kind of action, we're going to start shutting it down. I'm going to check here and check raise because I now probably have the best hand. And now I'm going to rep the ace, turn my hand into a bluff. Pair of sixes on the button. I'm going to watch the short stack here. I'm going to raise it and try to isolate these players. Try to isolate this guy under the gun. He'll call with any pair, and then I'm going to bet and take it down on the flop, possibly. If he re-raises, I'm done with the hand. Very scary board, very wet, but put yourself in his shoes. I re-raised in late position. I'm betting into a very wet board. What could I possibly have? Well, this should look scary to him, unless he's got a piece of it, which now I think he does. And now the board just got wetter. And he could have a diamond draw here that missed. I'm going to check. I think he's got, yeah, okay. We've got the best hand. So he did have a diamond draw. I might have bluff catched there. If he had bet, depending upon the size of the bet, I might have gone ahead and called. A6 suited. This is a one-gapper. Looks very tempting, right? I'm getting a great price, 3.5 to 1, but I'll be out of position. This is a fold. I was working with a player a little while ago, a student, and he just had a real problem getting away from those kind of hands. And you have to. If you want to win at poker, you've got to fold in situations where you're going to be out of position with with trouble hands. Okay, so we tried to raise here. We tried to steal. Both of these guys called us. If I were against one, the likelihood of one of them having an ace is pretty low. Against two players, it's still low. I would have gotten re-raised. I'm going to go ahead and take a stab at this pot. This is a one-and-done c-bet. If I get re-raised or called, I'm shutting it down because I'm, yeah. And then now he's saying, look, I've got a piece of this. We've got a gut shot. And I'm getting unbelievable odds to call. Pot's a $1.15. It costs me 5 cents to call to hit an 8, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. We miss, we whiff, and now we're done with the hand. Okay, this is another one of those kind of hands that my student is struggling with. Any ace he wants to call with. Number one, you're out of position. Number two, it's a very weak ace, which is a trouble or a trap hand. Number three, we've got a raise and a re-raise in front of us, so we're not involved in that hand at all. 3 strikes against us before we even see a flop, and there's no guarantee we weren't going to get repopped. So this is another one of those hands. Ace-9 off in early position. These first 2 seats here, remember, early position. For me, it's a fold. The next seat over, probably calling, or I'm sorry, raising, open raising with. I almost never limp into a pot. Okay, I'm going to raise 15 cents, which is a little less than my standard pot size, because I do want some action here with my aces. If I were at a full ring, a regular table here, I wouldn't be varying my bet size at all, because again, it's a really easy tell for somebody to pick up. Ace-10 off, again, is at the bottom of my opening range under the gun, but I'm going to go ahead and do it here. And fold to any kind of serious action. We got a cold call here. Can't put him on aces or kings, as usual. Very dry flop. If he has a pair, he's probably not going away, but if he's got overcards, he might. So I'm putting him on a pair here. I'm going to take another stab at the pot, and if we get more action from him, here I'm going to check and let him bluff into me. Nope, didn't want to. I think he had a pair of 8s or something like that there. He's not, if I'm betting there, he is not calling with a worse hand, is why I checked on the river. And he's not folding out better hands, and he's not calling with worse. So betting does not do me any good there, whereas he can bluff into me or think I'm scared of the ace and he's got his pair of 8s or something like that. And that's why I checked into him. This is one of those situations, if I were at a regular table and I knew about this guy and he was attacking my blinds, I might re-raise him here because my ace blocks many of his. I don't know anything about that player other than he had a big stack, so he's probably decent. He's going to have position. Just don't want to get involved in that hand. Calling is absolutely out of the question there. So my choice was raise or fold, and raising just a little bit too weak of a hand to do. I'm raising Jason again. In these last 2 seats, I'm raising a very wide range, open raising, trying to steal the blinds. And we got re-raised here, 22 cents. There's 58 cents in there. I'm getting 2.5 to 1 to call. I'll have position, but it's too much of a trouble hand, so I'm going to go ahead and let it go. You have to be willing to fold hands like that. You don't think. I don't want you thinking that you have money invested in the pot, that any money you put out there is yours somehow, or you're getting some kind of great price, unless you truly are. With that kind of hand, it's just a trouble hand, and there's no sense playing it. You're going to see another hand in literally seconds if you fold, and so pick your battles. I guess is what I'm trying to say here. Don't get involved in marginal spots where you're guessing where you are in the hand and guessing what the player has. And if you hit a jack on that flop and you get bet into, what do you do? Do you smooth? Do you float? I don't know. I'm not a good enough player to tell you what to do there, and that's why I fold, and that's why I make a few bucks at this game. and why and how you can too. Poker's not that hard. It shouldn't be a hard game. It's a game of probabilities, and you got to weather variance and things like that. But if you put some seat time in and practice and get used to folding, here we got a limp. We've probably got the best hand here. I'm going to raise it up. I'm going to put some pressure on him. I'm going to have position regardless, and I'm happy if he folds here. If he re-raises, I'm gone for sure because he's limp re-raising with monsters. If he's calling there, I've got position, so that's an easy re-raise. But again, poker should not be hard. Poker should be, you can make it hard for sure. You can get yourself into all kinds of tricky situations and, those kind of Jack-8 suited calling, granted in position, but against an unknown player, what do you do? What do you do when the flop is bone dry? What do you do when the flop connects partially with you? What are you hoping for a flop? There we were suited, so we're hoping for flush draw or something like that, or two pair. Okay, we're raising the queens under the gun, or something like that. But those kind of flops come along very rarely. Okay, he's short enough that the SPR is going to be great here. We're going to be like, look, we've got 41 cents in, and effective is $1.50. We're like 3.5 to 1 or so. We're committed with our eights against this player, not so much against this guy. And if my internet craps out again, I'm going to be very upset here. Okay, I've got to go ahead and fire into this regardless of the overcard. And I'm checking. Let's see what he has. He could easily have a king here. I feel kind of committed. Oh, boy. I think we're going to get it in. If he's got a king, God bless him. Okay, we had the best hand. He had a lot of aces in his range there, is the reason that I called that. I like that ace-jack suited that he turned over. He does have kings in his range, but not a lot. That kind of player probably with a king is re-raising me, although now that I say that, in my very next breath I'm going to say he did flat call with ace-jack suited. Okay, ace-10 off in late position. This is a very standard open raise. I'm, again, perfectly content to take down the blinds here. And one more minute. We're going to play till 5 o'clock, and then we'll shut it down. 10-6 off. In fact, I'll sit out the next big blind. Seems how I just got this big blind. 10-6 off. This is one of those, you're getting good price. No way are you playing this hand. You better be folding those kind of hands. Ace-8. Even if this guy had folded to us, I'm not typically playing this in the first two seats, so I'm going to fold here. Queen-8, on the other hand, in late position. This is a stealing hand for sure. This guy is a little bit short. We got to watch him. I'm not sure what kind of player he is. But those are easy steals. We just bought ourselves a lap of the table. We took down the blinds, took down 7 cents, and bought ourselves a lap. Going to fold that suited cheese hand. Jack-9 suited here. I consider this position, it's the cutoff. It's late position. So this is an open raise, but I'm not married to the hand. I just got repopped. Easy fold. I'm out of position. Yada, yada, yada. Why make poker hard? Ace-6 suited, that is a pretty hand. We got a limp under the gun. This is a tricky one. Folding is perfectly fine. I'm going to go ahead and raise it because this is a fishy limp. And if he re-raises me, I'm done. I could have the best hand here, but he's only calling with worse, so I'm going to check. I've got to get a little bit of value, so now I'm going to bet on the river. And I also have to protect against some draws, which just got there, so I'm going to check behind. And he had two. Ooh, no, he didn't. I thought we were beat there. I thought we lost. I read the board wrong. And we're done. So, again, these kind of zone poker games are fantastic for working on pre-flop. Post-flop, you've got to kind of limit yourself to one and done c-betting, maybe some floating, rarely two-barreling, that kind of stuff. Typically, you use this kind of a game to build a bankroll. Look, we just added, $4.34 to the bankroll without trying very hard. It's a good way to build the bankroll, but more importantly, it's a good way to work on your pre-flop skills. And so when I'm working with students, I like to work in zone poker when we're doing pre-flop stuff, and I'm trying to drill in position, 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 and I'm trying to drill in aggression, 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 and in particular trying to drill in the idea of folding and making poker easier on yourself by making simple decisions and giving up on hands quickly and easily before you get too quote-unquote invested in the game. So I hope this was helpful. I made a few mistakes in the hand in this little session. I'd like to hear about it. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Drop me a line at mark@exceptionalpoker.com if you get a chance. Thanks. Bye.